Put some power in here. Is it possible for me to fit my chair right here? It is. Okay, cool. So let's lower this. There we go. What's up, SoCal? I wish I could point this down more, but I don't know if I can. There, I guess that's all right. Good to see you too, buddy. Hey, I'm sitting down. I finally got a chair. Oh, man. Good to see you, brother. Ugh. Just ordered Rasasi La Yukawam. Yeah, I've tried it. Believe it or not, La Yukawam is, I believe, older than Club D Nui Intense Man EDT. It was one of the first original quote-unquote clones. You know, when we look at the godfather of clones, La Yukawam was like one of the very first Middle Eastern fragrances that people were like, oh my gosh, it's Tuscan leather. You know, so La Yukawam, out of all the clones, has been around almost the longest. It's been around a long time. I'm pretty familiar with it, yes. Dang, dude, my shirt is all... See this white stuff all over my shirt? This is my son right here, man. My son's slobbering all over me. That's what it is now. Yeah, you know, it's hard to say whether or not you're gonna love it because, like, when I first went on my leather kick, I should so lay down on this because it's got the recline. Oh shoot, I almost just knocked my whole desk over. When I was first coming up in the fragrance space, I had a leather kick, you know, because I had just got some Tom Ford ombre leather, and I was like, oh shoot, there's ombre leather and I was on this leather kick, and so I was like on a leather rampage, and then I realized like after a while that I don't love leather fragrances. I love leather involved fragrances. And I had to almost go through the leather clone phase to realize that what I was looking for wasn't actually like a leather forward fragrance. I just liked the note of leather, but I much prefer it to be background than foreground. But unfortunately, most leather clones are very leather forward. Like when I think of, you know, Maison Alhambra, Toscano leather, when I think of Off Non Rare Carbon, when I think of La Yucawam. These are all fragrances that are at least 60% leather forward. And I would say in the case of La Yucawam and Toscano leather are like 80% leather accord. And that's when I realized that like leather is one of those accords that you get what you pay for with it. And so if you are getting a leather forward fragrance, that majority of the fragrance is leather, every dollar you spend on it really matters to the quality of that experience. Because cheap leather is just such a grievance to wear. You love it in the opening and then it dries down and you're like, oh, I smell like a dirty pair of Levi's. Speaking of leather, you know what I want to try live on stream? I was actually blown away. Nah, blown away is a stretch, but I was really impressed with Bond Number 9's Sultan, or sorry, Sutton Place. And thankfully, the gal gave me a sample. I was at Neiman's and I was like, she was trying to get me to get Greenwich Village and Lafayette Street and Wall Street. You know, the usual suspects with Bond Number 9. And I just wasn't feeling how fruity most of the Bond Number 9 stuff was and how citric it was. I tried the Dubai Nights or whatever. And, but Sutton Place, I was actually impressed with. Kind of feels like a lawyer's fragrance. Really liked this brown, kind of vintage brown leather accord. Because most leathers I have are like fruity leather, citric leather. This leather was like brand new $800 lawyer's briefcase leather. Yeah, so nice. This is a beautiful leather fragrance. Now you're going to pay for it. And I'm actually interested in looking into if Bond Number 9 Sutton Place has an alternative. But this Bond Number 9 was very nice. Sutton Place. Ah, so nice. Oh, guys, so I know not a lot of you are here. We got Joel, SoCal, maybe Greenlee. Is he here? Yeah, he is. I found an incredible fragrance or combo, guys. I'm about to launch my combo series real soon. I've got to do rate my fragrances. If you like that, then you'll like this. I've got a couple series I'm trying to drop right now, but I found a heck of a combo recently. So check this out. I had my Club de Nuit Intense Man, right? And my bottle, the top broke off real early in the game. I had the EDP. And I was pissed because Club de Nuit Intense Man EDP was like my first dupe fragrance. And I loved it for like 5 days. And then the cap broke and I couldn't use the juice because I couldn't use the sprayer. So I drilled a hole in it last night and extracted all the juice. So I have like 8 10 ml vials of Club de Nuit, which I'm going to actually give all of them away because I have our Moffs per show coming in the mail. So I'm going to let everybody else enjoy some Club de Nuit EDP. But so check this out. So I love Creed's Aventus Absolute that just came out. I think it's the best Aventus yet. It is redundant, blah, 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 but it's still the better fragrance of all the Aventus, in my opinion. A lot more smoky, less pineapple-y, more woody, more dark, but fresh. And so check out this layering combo, guys. You take Club de Nuit Intense, EDT, EDP, or limited edition Parfum, or Offnon Supremacy Not Only Intense, or Al Harmain L'Aventure, and you throw 2 sprays of it on this. You put any cheap pineapple DNA on Ancre Noir a la Extreme, and you get Aventus Absolute. It is incredible, guys. I tried it with everything, including this big guy. Offnon Supremacy Collector's Edition, right? Because really what these fragrances are lacking is they all nail the pineapple accord, right? Some of them are more oak moss, some of them are more lemon black currant. They're very fruity, and that's always been the issue with all these clones, is they're fruit dominant. Whereas with Aventus Cologne, Aventus Absolute, those are wood forward. The pineapple and lemon is plush in the opening, but the pineapple always dries down, and it's a more woody forward, that birch, oak moss. It's that forward, 60-40, 40 being the pineapple and stuff. That stuff takes a back seat. So they never nail that accord. They're always fruit forward. This is true with Peugeot. This is true with Not Only Intense, Venture, Limited Edition Parfum, Collector's Edition. Those are all 60-40 leaning fruit forward. But when you throw Ancre Noir a la Extreme under it, which is essentially pure wood and resins, pure dry wood and resins, and you put that as the base, and then throw your Aventus dupe on top of it, it immediately darkens it up, it immediately smokes the wood, and it immediately pushes this forward and duffs out the sweetness of the pineapple, and you get a rich, dark, earthy, yet fresh Aventus, which is essentially what Aventus Absolute is dialed back pineapple, ramped up birch, smoke, oak moss. It's incredible. I tried it with everything. It is stellar. Most importantly, Club de Nuit Intense Man EDP layered on this is Aventus Absolute completely. With this, it's closer to Hachivat, but the reason this isn't Hachivat is because even though they ramped up the oak moss, the pineapple accord here is not that lemony, birchy pineapple that's very zesty. With this one, the pineapple is more dull can of pineapple juice. So it's a little more sweeter, smoother. So it sits somewhere between Aventus Cologne and Nishane Hasavat. But putting this under that still adds that smoke and dry woods and resin feel that makes it way more mature. So definitely give that a try, guys. Yeah, what I'm finding, dude, is Ancre Noir a la Extreme is single-handedly becoming one of the best layering fragrances for maturing out a fragrance. Because, I mean, think about this, guys. Most fragrances lack a woody base. They put wood in the base, but because there isn't enough wood there, the fragrance lacks maturity. Elysium is a great example of this. The only reason Elysium comes off classy and mature is because of the vetiver, but it still is mostly a citric medley fragrance where it's really fruity up top. So you put Ancre Noir a la Extreme below FOMO Fraghead's Asylum, and now you have like a way classier masculine form of Elysium, and it takes it out of the playful upscale casual and moves it to like date night super showstopper of a fragrance. You can put it under Tygar clones. You can put it under Imagination, and it just, oh my gosh. Yeah, the combo is insane. Polo, I'm sorry guys for not answering questions. You know me, I got on my rants. Thoughts on Polo Red? It's okay. Polo Red is okay. It's nothing special. Could you do it with Mont Blanc Explorer or not enough fruity vibes? I don't know, man. Mont Blanc Explorer, the black bottle, is a little light with the apple note. I mean, you could certainly put woods under it, but you're not going to get a Ventus feel. Mont Blanc is not more Aventus than Club de Nuit, L'Aventure Al Harmain, Offnon Not Only Intense, Arm Off Pre-Show. It's just not. It's Aventus-esque, but only by about 50%. You can still put a la Extreme under it. You're just not going to get Aventus. You're going to get Mont Blanc Explorer in a much more mature light. But you could still do it because the same components there are lacking to where the wood would really drive the fruit forward and give you a nice woody base. I would grab all the Encres. You know, honestly, Master Han, by next week, I will own every single Lalique fragrance except for Indigo. And I don't really want Indigo. I just put in an order for Insumi, Ombre Noir, Lalique White, Lalique Black and White, and I have everything else. I really love the Hot Shavat DNA. I bet Stronger Supremacy Not Only Intense with Encre Noir is amazing. Probably. You know, Off Non-Supremacy Not Only Intense really plays into the black current. So it would be, I know it would work amazingly. But even something as simple as Club de Nuit Intense Man EDP seems to give me more of the absolute Aventus feel rather than the Hot Shavat feel. The thing you're never going to get as far as trying to get close to Hot Shavat is Collector's Edition is the closest to Hot Shavat, but they use the wrong pineapple. So nothing's really going to get you truly to Hot Shavat because none of the clones have enough oak moss in it. But I feel like you just have to buy Hot Shavat right now. Now, granted, they are coming out with a new... Club de Nuit is coming out with a new line from the pre-show facet that another Aventus is coming. And it's coming in about June. So we'll see, you know. But so far, nothing has enough oak moss in it to get it to Hot Shavat. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate because I love Hot Shavat as well. Have you actually done these kinds of ratioed mixes into a decant yet? I wonder what happens when they macerate together. That is a phenomenal question, and my answer is no. So far, all I've been doing is trying them on skin and actually wearing them. Now, granted, both fragrances that I'm comboing are all macerated already, but as far as the hypothesis that when you combine them that they would macerate differently than macerating individually, I haven't messed with that theory yet. And the only reason I haven't really messed with decanting it yet is because I'm still dialing in the ratios. So for instance, a new combo that I did today that absolutely blew my mind was Amir Celestial from Paris Corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 2 sprays of Cayenne Classic or any Dior Homme Intense DNA. So Cayenne Classic, Camaro Homme Intense, Gary's Den, even though it's DHP, or actual Dior Homme Intense. And that was insane because the powder from the violet leaf in Celestial was pairing with the iris powder. And so you got this super earthy Ganymede base with this powdery Dior Homme vibe up top. It almost had like a earthier, oak mossier take on like Pegasus. It was like Pegasus, but more earthy, less sweet. It was so good, man. It was an insane pairing. And that's going to be on my episode as well. Hawas Ice is great, Henry. Have you tried all the Hawas flankers? What would you recommend as a great year-round office wear? Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think any of Hawas is a good office wear. Hawas is all play and no work. They're very versatile, so you could wear it in the office, although I don't think it's office appropriate. If you actually work in an office, I would recommend going from cheap to expensive, something like Lalique White, Mont Blanc Starwalker, CK1, CK Defy, Bentley Black Edition, Mercedes-Benz Intense, Tom Ford Grey Vetiver Parfum, stuff like that. Just super clean with a little touch of floral, some pepper. Keep it clean, keep it signature. You know, Hawas is too citric, aquatic. You know, it's like wearing Invictus Aqua to work. It doesn't really make sense unless you work like retail, like you're at a clothing store. Yeah, okay, now you can smell like Abercrombie and Fitch, and in that case, you might as well put on anything. Put on Elysium, put on Tygar, put on Imagination, because you're not really trying to smell like you're working. You're trying to smell like kids that would come in there, what they would wear. So that to me is not really like a work fragrance. That's a casual work environment that you're wearing a casual, playful fragrance in. But when I think office, I think clean, I think slight signature, nothing loud, nothing super projective, just something super clean with a little bit of sillage, linen, floral, earthy, slight fruit maybe, but typically I try to stay away from fruits when I'm in the office, you know. So the sweetness in Grey Vetiver is from orris root and saffron. That's not the same as apple or bergamot. You know what I'm saying? It's a much cleaner, sophisticated feel. Bois de Portugal, Lalique Pour Homme. Those are office fragrances to me. Insumi. What's good, Kicks? Thank you, bro. Good to see you, man. Hey, thank you so much for those fragrances. I've got them on my table right here. Reviews are coming soon, bro, on that blue and red, baby. Thank you so much. Oh, cool. I only have 3 to 4 Encre Noirs, including Indigo. Have you tried it? It's a clean saffron vetiver vibe. It's growing on me. I like it better than Sport. Encre Noir Sport is slowly becoming one of the best layering fragrances out there. It's not a great fragrance on its own. It's a little too bitter for most people, even though, oddly enough, it's marketed as Sport. But if you want anything to have an old school green fougere base, it's an incredible fragrance to have as a base on another layering. So if something is too sweet, if something is too citric, you put that green, bitter grapefruit rind and vetiver under it, and it makes it more earthy green, and it is a phenomenal layering fragrance. Great. Again, I do have, by next week, I will own every Lalique fragrance except for Indigo. And Indigo is the only fragrance in the Lalique line that I haven't put my nose to yet. But I've heard nothing but great things about it. Any good combos with Laliki Kus? I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like layering with Ikus. I love, or Ekus or whatever. I personally think Ekus is so good, it doesn't need a layer. Amber, vetiver, bergamot. To me, it beats Elysium. It beats Tygar. It beats Imagination because it's more masculine. I wouldn't personally recommend blending Ekus with anything, but you could because it's got a simple DNA. Amber, vetiver, citrus. Would you want to give it a woodier base? Not me personally. I think it's the perfect I think it's the perfect modern man with class fragrance, and I don't think it needs anything else. I love Latafa Assad. It smells like Dior Sauvage Elixir. Okay. Okay. All right. I saw Assad at Burlington for $30, but I decided to pass. Assad's one of those fragrances where when you buy it, you have to let it macerate. I was highly judgmental of Assad, and then I let it sit for like 3 to 6 months. I sprayed it about 10 times during that time. One day I sprayed it like 4 times. The other day I sprayed it like 3. The other day I sprayed it 3 again in like a 1 month period of time just to get some air out of it. And it macerated into a much smoother vanilla, a lot less pepper. And I only wear Assad for my wife. I hate Assad, but my wife loves Assad, so I love Assad. Celestial Short is where he paired it with Dior Homme. They seemed complementary. Yeah, listen, guys, that is a steal. 8 sprays, 9 sprays of Amir Celestial, 2 sprays of Dior Homme, intense straight down the middle. I don't care if you have a clone or the original. It is insane. It's a much earthier form of Pegasus, and it makes a fragrance like Armaf Craze look like chalk. How about Halloween Man for the office? You know, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Halloween Man for the office is somewhere between Invictus Aqua and Clean Office. Invictus Aqua to me is like a retail clothing store type of fragrance. It's playful and simple. When I think office, I think clean cut, serious, manly, masculine, slight signature, maybe slight floral, maybe slight fruit, but certainly more so touch of spices, touch of pepper, clean, linen, fresh. I don't really think aquatic when I think office. This is Invictus Aqua better, a lot better done, but I wouldn't call it an office fragrance. But it's more of an office fragrance than Invictus Aqua or any type of sweet fragrance you would wear. It mimics more of like a Prada Luna Rossa Ocean or a Valentino Uomo Born in Roma. You know, you can get away with that in the office, but it is a bit sweet, bit playful for seriousness. That's just me. I want to check out your Ombre Noir review when you drop it. It's coming, man. Ombre Noir will be here in a week or 2. Have you tried DS and Durge's Mississippi Medicine perchance? I have a sample of it coming in soon. Looking forward to it. I haven't, man. Let me know how it is. I'm excited to see what you think about it. Bright Leather is a fragrance I wouldn't layer, similar to Ekus. It's so nice how it already is. Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, it's it's blonde leather and heavy citrus at about a 70-30 ratio. 70% very bright, invigorating, happy citrus. 30% blonde cut leather mimics more of a suede. But yeah, you don't need to layer it. Now you absolutely could because it's citrus on leather. So you could make it more earthy. You could make it more citric. You can give it a more fruity, fun vibe with leather. You know, something like a raspberry or pomegranate or orange leaf, violet leaf, you know. But again, it's an amazing fragrance on its own. You don't really need to remix it. Any thoughts on Lattafa Teriyaki Intense? I haven't tried it, Malik. Haven't tried it. Let me know what you think about it, brother. I haven't tried it. So for the combos, once those ratios are dialed in, I'll be interested to hear if you volume up at the ratio. Exactly. Exactly. Me too. And I have hundreds of decants, so I'll definitely be, once I dial in the ratios, what I'm actually going to do is open up a marketplace to subscribers only where you can buy 5 ml decants of my combos. And right now I have about 15 very valid combos that I'm dialing in ratios for. And I'm so excited to reveal them, man. I'm so excited. When that episode series comes out, every time the series comes out, subscribers will be able to go on my website and purchase a 5 ml decant, and they're going to be super affordable. You're virtually just going to be paying for shipping. So I'm excited for subscribers to be able to try my combos. And I'm going to let them macerate at least for a month before I send them out. But it's going to be an excellent addition to the show. Going to this fancy dinner in April where each table costs $1,000 or so. Getting invited by some friends. Wondering if Kismet Angel would be a suitable fragrance for the dinner. I'm 16. I know how old you are, Isaac. I don't know what Kismet Angel is. If you mean Alhambra, Maison Alhambra Kismet, right? I have Maison Alhambra Kismet, you know, tuxedo. If you're talking that, yeah, it'd be a great fragrance for you. I need to pick up Lattafa, Fakar, and Sacrat next time I go to Burlington. Absolutely. Fakar Black is YSL-Y EDP, and Lattafa Sacrat is Acqua di Gio Profumo. Very accurate clones. Lattafa Fakar Black with the chrome circular base stem, whatever, that fragrance is about a 9 out of 10 closeness to YSL-Y EDP with insane performance, 14 hours plus longevity, incredible sillage and projection of at least 5 feet. That fragrance is beast mode, nuclear. Profumo is still solid, 5-6 hours of about 3 feet of projection at about, 5-6 hours of longevity. But it's still incredible. I mean, it's 10 out of 10 closeness with Profumo, to me. It's just a little bit weaker, but it's perfect DNA. Sacrat is one of the most slept-on fragrances of all time. Personally, I feel almost all Lattafa fragrances need to be macerated. They're way too harsh. I would agree with that, Shamil. A lot of Lattafa fragrances need to macerate. But I don't think that's a Lattafa thing. I mean, I think that's across the board. All of my Armaf, Lattafa, and Al Harmain fragrances do better with maturation. L'Homme Rocus could be a good for the office. I mean, Henry, the thing is that's like saying fougères are good for the office, and I don't necessarily agree with that. A fougère is definitely better than a citrus aquatic for the office because fougères typically deal with woods and spices. But I don't know. L'Homme Rocus is reminiscent of Bentley for Men Intense. Would I wear Bentley Intense to the office? No. I wouldn't. Boozy, sweet, amber, that's not really office friendly to me. But to each his own, you know. If you were a barber then that would be an incredible fragrance for you. But if you were a barber, I think you can't go wrong with something like Dracar Intense or Lalique Pour Homme Lion. You ever tried Ferragamo Red Leather? Yes, it's okay. I'm still a fan of Ferragamo Bright Leather, Ferragamo Uomo Signature. Yeah. What's the difference between Parfum versus Eau de Toilette? It's just concentrate. It's typical rule of thumb that as you go from Eau de Toilette to Eau de Parfum to Extrait to Absolute, you're getting deeper in the concentration, which typically means you get more notes, more depth. It also typically means that the fragrance tones down and has less performance as you get closer to Parfum. But it's interesting because some fragrances do the opposite, where they start light as an Eau de Toilette. They have a louder opening and a lower sillage in longevity. And as you move up, you get more performance. But that's not always the case. Grey Vetiver is a great example of that. The Eau de Toilette Grey Vetiver is loud projectively and then is super weak with no performance. The EDP has moderate performance with slightly less projection. And then the Parfum has almost weaker performance than the Eau de Toilette, but it's richer. So it's, but then, you know, for instance, something like, you know, I don't know, Eros. As you move up with Eros, you get more performance. You know, so it's just the concentrate in the oils. And then it also means typically with Eau de Toilette to Eau de Parfum, a lot of times they change up some of the chemistry. They'll add a note, they'll remove an accord. So it could also mean that they're adjusting the fragrance to have a slightly different feel. So Eros Eau de Toilette starts out very loud and sweet and vanillic and apple and all that. But as you move towards the Parfum, it starts to go more earthy. Same with Grey Vetiver. Louder, sweeter orris root in the Eau de Toilette. When you go to the Parfum, it's greener. You know, so different concentration, but also different notes being adjusted to give a different highlight to the fragrance. Might have asked this before, but what do you think about Ambassador Intense? Never tried it. My Kamarakawa smells like coconut oil. Kamarakawa coconut oil. Maybe cocoa butter, but coconut oil? No, there's no way. There's no way. The coffee note is way too strong in Kawa to come off as a coconut oil accord. Maybe cocoa butter. I'll give you cocoa butter or shea butter or hazelnut butter, but coconut oil is a bit crazy. So, yeah, I mean, macerate it, but I'm going to be honest, if you're smelling coconut oil, maceration is not going to do much for you. Somebody sent you the wrong fragrance. Thank you, Greenlee. Appreciate that. Eau de Cologne, Eau de Toilette, Eau de Parfum, Parfum, Extrait, Absolute, Intense. You know, these are all just gimmick words because you don't get full disclosure at what's going on. Because even if the concentration increases, they're taking notes and adding notes to the fragrance, and they're never telling you what the ratio is. So it could be orris root and vetiver, and as you move into the Parfum, the percentages could change on the notes as well. And they do that a lot, you know, they'll ramp down or ramp up on a certain accord. So Honestly, you shouldn't look at eau de toilette, eau de parfum, and parfum as anything to make assumptions about. You just simply need to always try all of them to figure out what smells the best and what you feel is going to perform in a way that makes sense to you. Don't always go for performance, because sometimes the eau de toilette is better. And I would say and here's another big point that not a lot of people talk about. And sorry for closing my eyes, guys. I'm so tired when I do these lives. But another thing to consider is that oftentimes the eau de toilette or the eau de cologne is the first fragrance that comes out, which means that in most cases, the eau de toilette is the cheapest to get because it's the first fragrance out. So as the eau de parfum, the extrait, the absolute starts to release, the eau de toilette starts to lower in price. So a lot of times, for instance, with Eros, a lot of people think, oh, well, I'm going to get more performance out of the eau de parfum or the parfum. Not necessarily. The eau de toilette surprisingly gets 10 hours plus performance, and it's the cheapest fragrance. So it's better to get the eau de toilette than the parfum, even though you could say that on paper, the parfum smells a little bit better than the eau de toilette. It's not enough to justify a $100 price hike. What's your first fragrance collection? If you mean what's the first fragrance in my collection, here, I'll go get it. I actually have the first fragrance I ever purchased in my entire collection still, and I have it 20 years later. I've owned this fragrance since 2003, and we're now in 2025. So I've owned this fragrance for 22 years, and this is Marc Jacobs by Marc Jacobs. To me, this is Cedrat Boisé before Cedrat Boisé. This is Cartier Declaration before Cartier Declaration. And I still own this fragrance. And I'm happy to say that even though this is a winter fragrance, I wore this year-round when I was a kid. I was way too young for a fragrance like that when I was a kid, but I didn't care. I knocked everything down still with it. Jubilation 40. Beautiful, beautiful. Gotta love some amouage. These levels of concentration more closely mirror increasing price more than performance. That's what I find. Well, they have to increase in price, not because of the concentration, but because of the newness. You know, if a fragrance company released a parfum first and went backwards, parfum, eau de toilette, then the eau de toilette would be the most expensive. Not because of the concentration at all, but because if it came out later, there's always a premium for a new fragrance. Dior Homme Parfum is essentially an eau de parfum. It hasn't changed in concentration at all from the 2022, the 2020, and the 2011 release of DHP. I believe it's always been an eau de parfum, but you're paying more money because it's newer. Every fragrance is surcharged because it's newer, not necessarily because of the concentration. However, there are some cases where, let's say they jump from an eau de parfum to an extrait. Yeah, they might charge a little bit more for that, and they might say that it's being charged more because of the concentrate, but that's never the case. You're always being charged based off of the newness of a fragrance. It has nothing to do with the concentration. Ever, 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 ever. I don't care what the marketing looks like, because think about it. The surcharge is always like 50 to $100 more, $20 to $100 more. And it's always just because that's why the fragrances drop so rapidly. in price. Fragrances increase in price due to popularity. I was just looking yesterday at FOMO, Gary's Den, and Fraghead's Asylum, and they have increased in price because there's higher demand and less bottles. They didn't think it was going to do as well as it did. It's all an illusion, guys. They're going to say whatever they need to say to drop a new fragrance and hike the price up. And we're going to eat it up. Fresh and blue is my favorite category. Blue fragrances I like. Blue de Chanel. Ferragamo Aqua Essenzial or whatever. Beautiful blue. Polo blue. Beautiful blue. Carolina Herrera Cobalt. Bad Boy Cobalt. Beautiful blue. There's a lot. Brioni Eclat. Beautiful blue. This isn't quite blue, but I would still call it one. And that's Mont Blanc Presence. It's a floral fragrance, but it has an aquatic, minty touch to it. Cod Lodge Chiaka Blue. Club de Nuit Iconic. Beautiful blues. Yeah, I mean, listen, Greenlee, you can disagree with me all you want, and honestly, you're valid in it, because as you move up in concentrations, it does require more materials, and in some cases, better quality materials. So you're 100% valid in that. I just know that from a perfumery standpoint, the up cost is so negligible in comparison to its previous version that the cost for them to make that increase in ingredients is always only a couple of dollars. It's never over like $10. You know, for them to increase a concentrate for a juice, let's say the juice costs them $5 to produce. For them to ramp up the cost of ingredients to go from an eau de parfum to parfum or an eau de parfum to an extrait, we're literally talking less than like a couple of dollars per juice. So they're going to market it as if it costed them an extra $50 a juice, when the reality is like the average cost per bottle on 100 ml is literally less than $5 to $10. So that's the standpoint I'm coming from, is like, yes, it costs more money to make higher concentrates and to utilize better ingredients, but in relativity to its own existence. Like, we're not going from like Gary's Den to Dior Homme Parfum. I'm talking like in an example of, let's say, a Ganymede, even several $100 fragrance. That fragrance costs less than $20 to produce. The increase in price margin is strictly because of the name. So if they went theoretically from an eau de toilette to Ganymede Extrait, and let's say their bottle price was $20 and they were dabbling with better ingredients, they're not going to out of pocket more than maybe $5 extra in that fragrance in production cost. And yet they're going to surcharge you an extra $50, $100, $150. But that surcharge isn't coming from ingredients as much as it's coming from the fact that it's a newer fragrance and the marketing. So Yeah, man, trust me, dude. Fragrances don't cost a lot to make, man. You know, granted, you know, if we're dealing with Boadicea, um, Ganymede, you know, these fragrances, you know, Mind Games, these fragrances that starting price is like $300-400. Yeah, okay, maybe there's a little bit more margin there where a little bit more money's being spent. But it's rare that a fragrance company is spending, even on the most expensive fragrances, more than 30 bucks ish to make a juice. It's sad to say because we truly somehow convince ourselves that something like a Ganymede is costing a company $100 to $200 to make, and they're only profiting like 100. But I assure you, just from my experience talking to perfumers and seeing how fragrances are made, that juices are very cheap to make, even at the most expensive level, and their margins of profit are insane, and they rarely equivalate to the price hike that happens between margins from eau de toilette to eau de parfum to extrait. That's just my experience. But you're totally valid in your perspective on that, because on paper, it's 100% true. Things cost more money if they become more quality. But I think you'd be shocked to know how much it costs for them to make the juices, especially at the designer level. Especially at the designer level. You know, like a great case in point of this is Dior Homme Parfum. Dior Homme Parfum 2025 was an utter failure. They charged you more for a higher concentration and actually went weaker with their ingredients. Every perfumer has notoriously agreed that 2025 DHP is made with crappier ingredients. And yet, that fragrance starts at like $220, $250. So we could try to argue, well, maybe it's because they used better ingredients. Well, the results are in, and they didn't use better ingredients and still surcharged the fragrance, and they didn't up the concentration. So there's a lot of ambiguity that we don't get as consumers that affect price hike, and it's more often than not a lot of bullcrap in name and branding and marketing and newness of fragrance releases, rather than they just needed to hike the price because they worked really hard on a new formulation that costed more money. I haven't tried the Collins line. Malik Cardamom is a beautiful note. Missoni Wave is nice. I haven't tried that, Joel. I've been shopping for niche lately. This is the last purchase run that I'm gonna do for a while, and then I'm gonna go straight niche for a while. But I picked up Lalique White, Lalique Black and White, Ombre Noir from Lalique, Insumi, and Armaf Peugeot. After those fragrances, I am leaving the clone world for a couple of months, and there's some fragrances I just have to pick up. A couple of mind game fragrances. I'm getting into Chanel's Coromandel. Um, um, there's some stuff from the 8 and Bob line. There's some stuff from Day 3. There's some niche I'm looking to get, as well as a couple Manceras I still need to pick up. But yeah, I'm leaving the clone in cheap designer world for a couple of months after this next haul. Yeah, no, you're Greenlee, you're 100% correct, man. It's just the question's always how much money is being spent extra on the perfumery. And we don't know. You know what I'm saying? We know it costs more to make a better quality item, but we don't get disclosed to how much more it costed them to do it. And so we're just left with these massive price hikes. And sometimes we find that the company is actually using cheaper ingredients on a said higher quality fragrance, air quotes, and it winds up coming out that perfumers are like, well, this isn't even better ingredients. We detect more synthetics than the last batch. So, you know, it's tough to discern, man, but there's a ton of validity to what you're saying. It's just a really ambiguous conversation. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, guys, what do you got for me? I have $1,200 in old Pokemon cards I'm selling on eBay. What should I do with all the money when it comes to fragrances? Isaac, that's funny. Please don't spend $1,200 in fragrance, Isaac. Don't do it. You can probably take $200-$300 and get some really nice fragrances. You know, get yourself at least 10 bottles of some amazing stuff that you won't even look back on. Don't try to be the guy that gets, 30, 40 bottles of fragrance with $1,200. It's going to be a total waste. Go into a Sephora, try as many fragrances as you possibly can. Really convince yourself that you love them, and then get them, and then don't look back. Sit on your money, wear your fragrances, exhaust yourself of them until you get bored. Maybe spend a little on some more fragrances and then call it a day, man. Please don't spend $1,200 on fragrances. I beg you. Thoughts on Latafa Kamra? Get Kamra Kawa. Kamra's old. If you need some niche affordable fragrance brand, let me know. As you know, I got some that no one talks about that are awesome. Joel, I am all ears, buddy. I am all ears. Hit me on Instagram. Can Spice Bomb Extreme be a signature scent? Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what else can be a signature scent? Odyssey Ohm Black Edition. This is a cross between Noir Extreme from Tom Ford and Victor and Rolf's Spice Bomb Extreme. It's fresher, more versatile, but it smells expensive, and it's only $20. If you don't feel like spending the money on Spice Bomb and you want something that's a little bit more interesting, go with Odyssey Ohm Black Edition from Armaf, and you will have an amazing signature scent for $20 that will rival Tom Ford Noir, Tom Ford Noir Extreme, Spice Bomb Extreme, Spice Bomb Infrared, and everything in between. Yeah, it's definitely a very interesting discussion, Greenlee, because we can only speculate, I wish we had more information, but they're not going to give it to us, because I think if we knew the truth, they wouldn't be able to charge so much money for fragrances. And we're seeing that, right? Because think of how many incredible clone DNAs have come out that are under $30. Because, I mean, think about it from that standpoint. There are extraits that are $20, $30. FOMO Fragheads Asylum is a clone of Elysium, and it is an extrait de parfum. They didn't even bother with EDT, EDP, or parfum. They went straight to extrait de parfum, right? And they charge us $30 for the juice. So the juice has to be less than $10 to manufacture. And that fragrance smells incredible, and it's an extrait, and it's almost a one-to-one clone of Elysium. So you have to ask yourself, how are the clone companies profiting if the ingredients are expensive to make a fragrance? That fragrance doesn't smell synthetic at all, smells very fresh, is almost one-to-one, has 8 hours of performance, and it's an extrait. And they're charging $20 to $25 retail, probably pocketing at least a 60, 70% margin on the fragrance. So at the end of the day, we can speculate that something like FOMO Fragheads Asylum probably costs less than $7 to make. And then you have to question everything, because then you have to say, okay, well, let's just assume Elysium has better ingredients. If FOMO can charge $25 for that fragrance and have a profit, and we're spending $300 on Elysium, how much did Elysium cost to make? Let's just times it by 5. 5 times 7, 35. Maybe Elysium costs less than $30 to manufacture, and yet we pay $300, and it's not even an extrait. It's a eau de parfum, I believe. So it's really fascinating to speculate. I've had Camera and Ram Silver in my closet for a month to macerate, and they just haven't really gotten smoother. And I'm just really waiting for them to become smoother and not too harsh. Well, I don't know, buddy. You know, my Assad from Lattafa did not macerate until about 5 or 6 months later. Every juice is different, man. I've had fragrances change in a week. I've had a fragrance come through the door. I've had fragrances that people have sent to me in decants that smelled terrible out of the decant, and then the decants have been sitting for months in my drawer. I did a review on Solarium Elysium by Dumont, and I said that that fragrance smelled horrible. I just went in yesterday and smelled that fragrance out of the decant, and it smelled like a night and day, fresh, beautiful, earthy, green, citrus fragrance. And I might have to go back in and redo my Solarium review because of maceration. I've had stuff macerate in a week. I've had stuff macerate the day I opened it and aired it out. I've had stuff like Assad go 6 months to a year before it smelled amazing. Maceration is a crazy thing, man. So there is hope in that your Ram Silver and your other fragrance could macerate and smell better, but there's just no times table on it. Everything is different. There's some people still with Lattafa Atlas on their shelf smelling like some kind of harsh chemical and Armaf Craze, and they're still waiting for those to macerate into something beautiful. And I'm one of those people. Thank you, Greenlee. I just bought Odyssey Ohm Black Edition. Beautiful. Beautiful. Listen, you will absolutely love that fragrance. That is probably top 5 best clones of 2024. You will absolutely love that fragrance. Boy, my camera I received 3 days ago, and it's smooth as F. How many times for maceration on Cassius and Club de Nuit limited edition? It's hard to say, buddy. It's hard to say. Here's going to be a beautiful tip, though, with you. If you take Encre Noir a la Extreme and spray it 1-to-1 with your Club de Nuit limited edition parfum, spray this first, maybe go like maybe 2 or 3 sprays of this and then 2 or 3 sprays of limited edition parfum, you get a Ventus Absolute. But as far as maceration, I can't tell you, man, because maceration is such a crazy thing that 2 people can have the same fragrance and one person might not even have to experience maturation and the other one might. There's different batch codes. There's different chemistry. Maybe if the fragrance is flying to an area with cold climate, it might need less time to macerate. Whereas when it comes to Arizona, where it's hot, the heat puts a lot of pressure on the bottle. So maceration is different everywhere. But for me, my Cassius smelled amazing the moment I got it. My Club de Nuit limited edition parfum took a couple of months to really settle because the pineapple and lemon was so strong. But yeah, it's hard to say. Any recommendations for Tom Ford Oud Wood and Effing Fabulous? Yeah, man, Oud Wood's really easy to clone. It's very easy to clone. In fact, there's a lot of more expensive clones out there, and you don't really need them. Maison Alhambra's Woody Oud is a 10 out of 10 clone of Oud Wood. It's all you need. It's absolutely phenomenal. 100 ml Maison Alhambra Woody Oud. I'm not a big fan of a lot of Maison Alhambra, but as far as the Tom Ford private blend or whatever, this is incredible. Woody Oud is also another incredible layering fragrance. Everybody needs Woody Oud in their collection. Anytime you want a mineralic feel to a fragrance, Woody Oud is amazing. You can literally mix this fragrance with anything, but it's very good and very clean on its own. Such a nice fragrance. Such a nice fragrance. Woody Oud Maison Alhambra, 100 ml, $20. Incredible. Effing Fabulous is a little bit harder to clone. A lot of the clones of Effing Fabulous are so terrible, it's not even funny. For some reason, they always screw up the leather note and the suede note. There's a suede saffron or suede and something else, I forget, that they always mess up. I've yet to come across a great Effing Fabulous clone. And I don't that for that I don't want to recommend it. Effing Fabulous to me, there's a lot of DNAs out there that claim they get it and they don't quite get it. Effing Fabulous is such an intriguing, weird smell. You know, it's got the spice, it's got the suede, it's got the lipstickness vibe to it. It's got the maybe almost iris, I don't know. It's such a unique scent that a lot of people really royally mess up the clone. Effing Fabulous, believe it or not, is just as hard to clone as something like Ombre Leather or Tuscan Leather. But as far as Oud Wood, Woody Oud is 1-to-1. What is a good and fresh gym cologne? Well, if you've been rocking with me on my channel, you know that I'm not a big fan of gym fragrances. When you mix body odor and sweat with a fragrance, it can never turn out better than just a nice shower. And I don't like being loud at all in the gym. I like being clean. So for that reason, I'm sticking to everything clean. CK1 great gym fragrance. Starwalker from Mont Blanc, great gym fragrance. Coach Open Road, great gym fragrance. Just Bergamot, great gym fragrance. Something fresh, something linen, something clean. Not a ton of citrus, no florals. Mineralic, sure, but I'm a clean linen kind of guy when I'm in the gym. I want to smell fresh and clean. So hopefully those are some good recommendations for you. I'm not a big fan of going in a gym smelling like citrus, like a citrus medley, florals, anything sweet. Because when you mix body odor with that, it just gets out of hand. Yeah, that's a good choice, Qatar. Wow, that's interesting. I guess I have to wait till next winter. Maybe it'll grow on me. Yeah, hopefully, Isaac. I hope so. Do you like Bad Boy Cobalt EDP? Absolutely. Carolina Herrera's Cobalt is nice, but there are better fragrances. So, yes, absolutely. Cobalt is nice, man. Props to Cobalt. I like it a lot. To me, though, a cheaper fragrance that literally annihilates it in terms of that sexy spices iris blue DNA. I would highly recommend like Blind by Worthy, Rodriguez, Narciso Rodriguez, Blue Noir Parfum. Yeah, somebody spell that for me in the chat. Francis or the heck? Narciso Rodriguez, Blue Noir Parfum. Somebody write it in the chat for this guy. That fragrance is $40 for 100 ml. Absolutely insane. Another cheap alternative at the $25 price point is Cod Lodge Shiaka Blue. Take a screenshot of that. 100 ml as well. But Narciso Rodriguez Blue Noir Parfum is, I mean, it kills Cobalt. It kills Cobalt. Way smoother. Way smoother. Club de Nuit Intense Man macerates after 3 months. It's different for everybody. Club de Nuit macerates differently for everyone. Shipped to customer right off the production line versus sitting in inventory for 6 months. In some cases, a frag macerates before it even gets to you. Absolutely. Well said. Have you tried Off Non-Rare Carbon? Yeah, it's right here. In fact, Off Non-Rare Carbon is another incredible fragrance for layering. If you put Amir Celestial with this, or La Nuit de l'Homme, or YSL L'Homme, or Jimmy Choo Man with this, you really have an incredible ombre leather clone. This is almost ombre leather, but it's kind of in between ombre leather and Tuscan leather. So if you really, it's really missing the ramp up on florals. It's got the raspberry, but it's one of the cleanest leather dupes out there. But this is an incredible layering juice. You layer this with L'Homme, La Nuit de l'Homme, or Jimmy Choo Man, and you are really toe-to-toe with ombre leather. Really toe-to-toe. 1-to-1 ratio. I think we all need a good base leather layering fragrance. Yeah, Effing Fabulous is really nice, but it's so nice that it's hard to beat. There's not a lot of clones that there's no clones that I respect of Effing Fabulous. Effing Fabulous is so nice. It's nice for so many reasons. The suede, the iris, you know, I mean, there's so many notes in it. Should receive Supremacy Intense tomorrow. Looking forward to test it. Qatar, let me know how you feel about it, man. I hope you love it. Yeah, Narciso Rodriguez, for him, Blue Noir Parfum. Absolutely annihilates Carolina Herrera Cobalt. And Cobalt's a great fragrance. Don't get it twisted. Cobalt is about an 8 out of 10. Blue Noir is easily a 9 out of 10. And many people could argue that it's a 10 out of 10 because it checks all the boxes. It's a blue iris fragrance, ultimate date night, ultimate seduction, super well blended, incredible performance. It's not versatile. It's literally only a date night fragrance or nightlife seduction vibes. But for its category, it's absolutely insane. I can comfortably give it a 9, and I can't be mad at a 10. Yeah, Chiaka Red is great too. Amouage and Xerjoff, I'm very picky about. Like, I'm so picky about Amouage and Xerjoff. I have to be so delicate because there's stuff that I absolutely love that just doesn't do well on my skin. But there's a couple niche fragrances on my mind right now. I'm trying to get Chanel's Coromandel. I'm trying to acquire I forget what the name of it is, but it's psychedelic. I don't know the house, I forget. But it's that patchouli chocolate cake vibe. Psychedelic, it's got a weird wavy looking bottle. I'm really trying to acquire that right now. Serge Lutens, trying to acquire 2 of those bottles. I still want to get my Amberful for fun. So, you know, I got about $1,000 I need to spend, but that's why I'm going straight niche, because I need to, you know, get my bag crazy. A great easy layering rules that can be followed is use a fragrance that would enhance notes in the main fragrance, but you can go wild and test. Absolutely. Fabulo Intense isn't exact effing fabulous, but it isn't that bad. See, Raheem, Fabulo Intense is such a cheap smelling version of effing fabulous. It's like, if you've never smelled effing fabulous, then you'll think Fabulo Intense is good. But if you've ever smelled effing fabulous and then go to Fabulo Intense, it is so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. Oh, and it sucks too. Mood and Radiant, just perfect sandalwood, and it's not that expensive. I'll screenshot it. Thank you, Barek. Last minute questions, ask away, man. We're signing off soon. I'll give you guys about another couple minutes to ask questions, then we're signing off. I'm not telling her the clone. I'm not telling her the clone ever. Ever. Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What are you going to say? Oh, listen, babe, I'm nothing crazy. I'm just wearing Chiaka Blue from Cod Lodge. Absolutely not. Blue de Chanel. Oh, I'm wearing that off non-rare carbon. No. I'm wearing Tom Ford. I'm wearing ombre leather. Oh, I'm wearing a Mir Celestial from Paris Corner, babe. Nothing crazy. Oh my, no. I'm wearing Ganymede. Odyssey Own Black from no. No. Not at all. Not at all. No, I'm wearing Creed Aventus, guys. I'm wearing Absolute Aventus. You've heard of Creed, haven't you? Yeah, I just picked this up. I was at Neiman's the other day. I'm not lying because I was at Neiman's. I just didn't buy it. What are you going to tell her? You were wearing Woody Oud? Oh, shoot. You're going to tell her you're wearing Woody Oud? You going to pull that out of your bag? Let me find out you're telling her you're wearing Woody Oud. What's the craziest dupe name out there, guys? Come on, that's a question before I sign off. What's the craziest dupe name? I'm looking right now. Cod Lodge Shiaka is crazy. Yeah, Cod Lodge Shiaka might be my craziest fragrance name. Yeah, no. Ard Al Zafran Sahib Intense. Let me find out you're telling her you're wearing that. No, babe, I'm wearing Imagination LV. You heard of that? You know they got Afternoon Swim, Pacific Chill. No, I just picked this up. Yeah, it's nice. No, we're not wearing Ard Al Zafran. We do not wear Ard Al Zafran, guys. What fragrances would you wear if you're going to war? Wow. See, that's a good question for my game show. If I'm going to war, I mean, that's pretty easy, man. There's a couple. If I'm going to war, I'm wearing Encre Noir Black. It's pretty simple. When you smell me, I want you to feel like you're gonna die because you are looking at a dead man already. Another fragrance I would probably wear is Dior Fahrenheit Eau de Toilette. I want to smell like gunpowder. I see you, Joel. I see you. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to smell like anything pleasant. If I'm going to war, I'm smelling like gasoline or soot and the pits of the underworld. So I'm gonna layer Encre Noir on top of Fahrenheit Eau de Toilette. So I can smell like gunpowder, gasoline, and soil. Oh, shoot. Nautica Voyage is great. Nautica Voyage is great. Here's a tip. In 2025, if you want to wear Nautica Voyage, stop in your tracks, go to Joma Shop or Fragrance by CA, and look up Lacoste Play. Lacoste Red Play. Also referred to as Lacoste Red Style in Play. Lacoste Red Style in Play. Wear that instead of Nautica Voyage in 2025. I'm showing on Fragrance Net, you can get 100 ml of that fragrance for $28. Style in red, Lacoste red. Planning on getting it for the summer and Club de Nuit or Odyssey for other seasons. Yeah, Odyssey Homme Black Edition will be an incredible fall-winter fragrance for you. Very versatile. It's beautiful. It's Tom Ford Noir and it's Spice Bomb Extreme all in one. So you've got that vanilla, that's the vanilla, the spices, the saffron. You know, Club de Nuit is going to be year round, but I would get Club de Nuit limited edition Parfum only, or Armaf Peugeot 1. But then you still need a fresh fragrance. So I might recommend for like the ultimate oh, Latafa Sucrat. Latafa Sucrat. That's what you need. You need Sucrat in your collection. Sucrat, Club de Nuit, Intense Man Limited Edition Parfum, or Armaf Peugeot. It's going for $40 right now instead of $30, so it's only $10 more. And Odyssey. That is a great trio right there. Odyssey Homme Black Edition, Latafa Sucrat, and Armaf Peugeot 1. I like that. That's a good combo. What Latafa is that on your right? I don't see many Latafas here. Latafa Kamrakawa. None of this is Latafa. Latafa Badi Al Oud, Oud for Glory. And then there's no other Latafa here. Yeah. I hope that answered your question. Anyone here tried Sucrat? How does it smell? It is a 1-to-1 clone of Acqua di Gio Profumo, which is now discontinued. It is Gio Armani incense in the back. It is the best Acqua di Gio Armani fragrance in the entire history of their fragrances. It is the most versatile fragrance of all time. And it's very masculine, mature, marine, aquatic. Any season, any reason, any age. $20 on Amazon. It's one of the most affordable fragrances you're going to find. And it is the best everyday fragrance you will ever wear. Trust me. Out of everything I own, back here, over there, Sucrat is one of the best fragrances in my collection. And it is also the cheapest. Joel, I need you to recommend me some Issey Miyake. Hawas Ice is good, John. 9 a.m. dive isn't that great, Henry. It's okay, but it isn't that great. Off Non-Supremacy Collector's Edition is amazing. Thank you, Xavier. Have you tried the new Rue Barocca Theorem Matrix? I find it to be a cheaper version of Precious. Well, I haven't, but here's my question to you. If Precious is $40 right now, the only thing cheaper than Precious is all of the $30 to $35 dupes of Aventus. You have Al Harmain L'Aventure, Off Non-Supremacy Not Only Intense for Men, Club de Nuit EDP, Club de Nuit Intense Man Limited Edition Parfum, Precious and this are $40. So if something is cheaper, it's only going to be cheaper by about $5 or $10. And Precious and this are the best Aventuses out there. This is somewhere between Aventus, Absolute, and sorry, it's between Aventus Cologne. Sorry, it's between Creed Aventus and Nishane Hasavat. And Precious is more Aventus Cologne / Aventus Absolute. So the question is, would you want to pay $5 or $10 less for a weaker fragrance? I don't know. Yeah, this bottle is incredible. This is one of the best bottles ever made. I mean, you can't really... I mean, that bottle... I'm so glad that the fragrance smells as good as the bottle looks, right? Like, the bottle looks incredible. You can't get thumbprints on it. It's a matte finish. You can never smear this. The cap snaps. The atomizer's great. Snaps on. Very beautiful. It's worth every penny. And the juice smells just as good as the fragrance looks. Yep, that's the trifecta, Greenlee. What are your thoughts on the replica line? You guys are going to hate me. You guys are going to hate me, man. Listen, I accept criticism. I do. And I say this with all sincerity. This right here is all of the hits in the replica line. Okay? You take a look at those names. They're all there. They all suck. That's the punchline, guys. They all suck. And the only ones that anyone even truly speaks about, which is Music Festival, By the Fireplace, and Jazz Fest, maybe? By the Fireplace. By the Fireplace, Jazz Club, and Music Festival are pretty much the most talked about. And they all suck to me. I'm sorry. They suck. Especially when you factor in the fact that they're $80 a piece. Uncalled for. The replica line should be $30 a bottle. Now we're talking. Now it's worth it. For $80, none of those fragrances are worth $80. None of them. Do they have fragrances that smell good? Yes. Do they smell like $80 fragrances? You guys do realize, right, that... You know what else is $80? You can get this fragrance and Precious for $80. You can get Mancera's Amberful for $80. You can get Mancera's Vetiver Sensual for $80. You can get Amora Cafe for $80. You can get Jardin Exclusive for $80. You can get Cedrat Boisé Intense for $80. You can get Instant Crush for $80. Does any of those fragrances from Replica come close to any of those fragrances? No. I hurt a lot of people's feelings with that, and I'm sorry. But I have reviewed the fragrances. I gave them my due diligence. I didn't talk about them as badly as I am on this live. I tried to give everything a proper review, see it in its context, factor in everything about the fragrance, And my overall opinion is that not one fragrance in the entire replica line is worth $80. And here's the crazy part. I actually found a 1-to-1 clone of Jazz Club and By the Fireplace. So with that being said, you don't even need anything from the line. See ya, Joel. Thank you, buddy. Was in the Army for 4 years operating heavy equipment. I'd show up wearing nothing but, at end of the day, smelling like Dior Fahrenheit. Nice. So you'd go to work and get a natural oil concentrate of Dior Homme Parfum. Hey, I'm not mad at that, man. You should have took a shower and the towel you used to dry off, wring that out in a decant, man. You could have brought home some organic, fresh Dior Fahrenheit. I would have paid for a sample of that. Precious is only 50 ml though. I mean, SoCal, who cares? I mean, you do realize, like, here's a valid question, SoCal. When is the last bottle of fragrance? How long has it taken you to go through 50 ml of one fragrance? No, this is a legitimate question, guys. How many fragrances do you own that are 50 or 100 ml that you've emptied the bottle? Not what fragrance. How many bottles of fragrance do you own? 50 ml to 100 ml, 120 counts as well. How, out of all those fragrances, how many bottles have you emptied in your lifetime? I'm going to give you the convenience of saying your lifetime. How many bottles have you emptied? What's your favorite fragrance in your collection? I don't have a favorite, Raheem. I love my fragrances. I don't hate any of my fragrances. I wear all of my fragrances every day. Kismet Angel by Maison Alhambra. Great fragrance. Tuxedo clone. Where I live, Precious is $50 for 55 ml. And Theorem Matrix is $20 for 90 ml. Well, that might be the case, Aurora, where you live, it's $50. But none of us buy fragrances in person anymore. Online, you can get Precious for $40. Now, Theorem Matrix, if it's $20 in person, get Theorem Matrix. But if it's $20 online, then it's probably $25 to $30 with shipping. So it's closer to $40. And I think pre-show is probably better enough than Theorem Matrix to justify a $10 price jump. But if it is $20 and you have the fragrance in person and you actually think it's better or close enough, I'm not mad at you. By the Fireplace, Raheem, is not worth... Let me just look at that fragrance. By the Fireplace retails at $80 to $100. I'm going to spray it. Dude, I'm just going to tell you, man. Listen, you're entitled to your opinion. I'm not mad at you, man. You're valid. Your opinion matters because at the end of the day, you have to live with yourself. You have to be as vibrant as this succulent plant, and you have to go to sleep with yourself at night. And so you matter to yourself. But the smell of fire and marshmallows is not worth $100. It's not even real smelling. The fire smells real. The roasted marshmallows smell synthetic. You couldn't pay me to... That's a $20 fragrance, man. That's a $20, $30 fragrance. Wait till you guys see the clone I recommend of By the Fireplace. And if you smelled the clone next to the actual fragrance, which the clone costs $25, you're going to be so mad you spent $100 on By the Fireplace. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy to anyone who would pay that $100 or even $80 or even $60 for By the Fireplace. See, because then, you know, it's like we're not even going into fragrance territory anymore. This fragrance literally smells like we're at the end of the night sitting around a bonfire. The fire is out, so there's just kind of smoke lingering around. You've got a fire smell, a firewood smell, and some sweet marshmallows in the air. I am not a gourmand guy. To me, that is not fragrance. That is not a fragrance DNA. That is a body spray. That is a candle. By the Fireplace would be a lit candle. It'd be a great candle. Fragrance, I don't go outside and say, I want to smell like firewood and marshmallows. Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Sailing day is okay, but again, it's would you pay $100 to smell like fresh air and white florals? That's a conversation you got to have with yourself. Let's put a jazz club next to it and see what we're working with. Oh, okay. So you guys ready for it? I'm going to give you the clone for Jazz Club. It's going to... When I show you guys this, you're going to say, there's no way. There's no way that this is a clone of Jazz Club. But it is 1-to-1. You guys ready? You guys ready for this? I don't think, fourth dimension, I don't think anything about Arabic ouds. I know nothing about Arabic ouds. I know agarwood oud. I know, you know, oud satin mood. I know silk oud. I know I know Boreal Oud, Oud for Glory. I know Initio's Oud for Greatness. You know, fresh Ouds. I don't know Middle Eastern Ouds. I'm not into animalic or funky Ouds. I'm just not the expert. Stronger with You or Latafa Kawa for my first winter frag. Stronger with You, Blake. 100% of the time. Off Non-Collector's Edition is 40 bucks on Amazon. Might have to grab it. Absolutely. It's not going down. 40 bucks is the lowest price point for Off Non-Collector's Edition. You should absolutely get it. Drop the names on the clones. Maybe. Replica line isn't touching top Manceras. Never. They're never touching Mancera. On any level. Brother, what do you think about Arabic Ouds? I don't think. Oh, I only brought up per show ML to point out that it's actually double the cost of collectors. Oh, yeah. 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 You're right. You're right. You're right. But, you know, I think it plays into the whole precious name, you know. It's a precious size. I mean, it really is unfortunate. Like, they should have... Armoff should have gave us 100 ml of juice. Making a 55 is low-key criminal for the price. But I think it just had to do with the fact that they're working on so many new fragrances for 2025 that they wanted to spend their resources elsewhere. Because there really is no difference between 55 ml and 100 from a production standpoint. So when I consider the value comparisons because of the difference bottle size, I calculate the cost per ml. Yeah. No, I get you, Greenlee. I get you guys for sure. Can you try Mr. Momentum by School of Scent and talk about your thoughts on it? I don't have it. But I can definitely get it for sure. Before my collection was large, I've emptied several bottles. Now 50 ml will last forever. I'm telling you, 50 will last you a long time. I wear bright vetiver or bright leather from Ferragamo 10 sprays every day, and I've yet to crack a dent in it. Should I buy Amber Oud, and what season is that frag? Amber Oud. What brand? There's a couple Amber Ouds. Yeah, I don't like sweet stuff either. What's crazy about By the Fireplace? However, wasn't crazy about By the Fireplace. However, Hypnotizing Fire is good to me. I haven't tried that. Is Coach Open Road any good? Yes. Don't expect the world with Open Road. Open Road is a clean linen fragrance with a small touch of apple. It's almost like Mont Blanc Explorer, but a lot smoother. Okay. Ready? This is your Jazz Club clone. You guys ready? This is a 1-to-1 clone of Jazz Club. And I know you guys would have never made this connection, but it's true. Here's your 1-to-1 clone of Jazz Club. I don't know why I did not spot this sooner, because I wear Liam Gray quite often. But recently I was doing a review of Jazz Club, and thankfully I had just recently worn Liam Gray a couple days prior. And these are the lowest score I can give it is like a 9.5 out of 10 closeness, but I'm calling it 10 out of 10 because to me, it's virtually unrecognizable, the difference between the two. And it makes sense because this Liam Gray, I need to see a note breakdown. One sec. Yeah, the note combos are very different. Must be the Clary Sage. Must be the Clary Sage doing it. Yeah. Try it, guys. Don't take my word for it. Try it. Have you tried Shura by Risasi yet? It's the gold standard for bang for your buck. I have not. Do you own Creta Ventus? No. I don't think anybody should own Creta Ventus. You know, if you want Aventus Cologne, you have Armoff per show. If you want Hashivat, you get Supremacy Collector's Edition. If you want Aventus Absolute, you take per show and you put Ancre Noir a la Extreme below it. Or Club de Nuit Intense Man, or Club de Nuit Intense Man Limited Edition Parfum, or Alhar Main L'Aventure, or Off Non Supremacy Not Only Intense, and put it on top of this, and you get Aventus Absolute 1-to-1. Don't take my word for it. Give it a try. This is slowly becoming one of the best layering fragrances of all time because it's just wood and amber resin. So any fragrance that lacks masculine edge, any fragrance that lacks masculine touch, like a citrus fragrance, a sweet fragrance, a floral fragrance, you can put this resinous wood under it, and it immediately gives it a masculine kind of birchy resinous feel, which is essentially what Aventus is. It's pineapple, lemon, birch, and smoke, you know, in the form of resin. Have you tried Most Wanted Parfum? I don't like the EDP Intense. Most Wanted Parfum is nice. Most Wanted Parfum is nice. Very fresh. You should try Theorem Matrix and let us know if you like it, if possible. Aurora, you should send me Theorem Matrix since it's so cheap. Matter of fact, you send me a new bottle of Theorem Matrix, and I will send you a new bottle of something that I think beats it for the same price. How about that? I've issued a challenge. What do you think of Spectre Ghost French Avenue? It's pretty solid. Pretty solid. You should take that challenge, man. I got a lot of $20, $25 bangers, man. You send that fragrance to me. I'll smell it. You don't got to worry about return costs or anything. I'll pay for your shipping to send you my fragrance for 20 bucks, and it'll have the same ml, and it'll be the same price. Oh, India. Well, one day it'll come across my desk, Aurora. I took a screenshot of the fragrance, so somebody I know will send that fragrance to me. Somebody will send that fragrance to me. Don't worry, buddy. I'll review it. I've got a lot of people sending me fragrance right now. Okay. Henry, this is how I feel. You see it? That's how I feel about that juice. A signature scent for a 20-year-old that lives in the Middle East. Open budget, your taste. Oh, I thought you said $20. A signature scent for a 20-year-old that lives in the Middle East, open to your budget, or open budget. Okay. Barik, do you work or are you in school? The Modge line is tough, both the Appletini and Moscow Mule. Moscow Mule's nice. Appletini is not quite my tea, but it is a good smelling fragrance. In fact, I was just smelling Moscow Mule yesterday, actually. And where do you work? What do you do for work? Important questions. Okay. And my last question is, when you think about fragrances, what do you like more? To smell like a grown man, like a presentable businessman, or being more playful? Is La Nuit de l'Homme better? Henry, a lot of people would say La Nuit de l'Homme is better. They think it's more versatile. But I would disagree completely. Both fragrances struggle with performance. The performance is bad. But the DNA is so special, you just accept it and you put on 10 sprays of the fragrance. I'm not kidding. You put 10 sprays on you and you only use it for date night. If you're meeting with a woman and you put 10 sprays on of L'Homme, you will always have success at the end of the night. Always. It is one of the sexiest, most complicated date night fragrances of all time. And what makes it so special is the basil note, because most date night fragrances are very vanillic and spicy. And that's kind of played out. You know, Burberry Hero, Azzaro Most Wanted, Wanted by Night, Mercedes-Benz Club Black, YSLY, Gucci Guilty. You know, most of these fragrances play on vanilla and spices, and it's played out. You want a manly edge, and the sophistication and sweetness and freshness that comes from L'Homme is unmatched. I normally don't like spraying 10 sprays of anything, but you are dealing with an eau de toilette, eau de parfum concentrate. It's a very light fragrance. She has to get up and... See, here's the thing that men don't understand about women. Women don't want a man who they smell across the room. They want a man who they walk by and they smell him and they have to find an excuse to get close to them again because they just want to be around that fragrance. When you send your fragrance across the room, they don't have a reason to want to get close to you. In fact, they think the opposite. They think that if they actually got up and got closer to you, that you would actually be too loud and even more intense than what they're already smelling. They want a fragrance that when they walk by you, they need to have an excuse to sit by you, to be in your conversation space, to cuddle with you. That's what an alluring fragrance should do. It should not be saying, hey, look at me. That's not what sexy is, guys. So trust me, L'Homme is a fragrance you have to do 10 sprays because 10 sprays is going to get you through the date night. It's going to get you through the Netflix and chill. And no matter if you have 5 sprays on or 10 sprays on of L'Homme, it doesn't smell more intense. The 10 sprays just ensures that it's going to marry on your skin. And at the end of the night, you'll have some remnants on there. You know what I'm saying? So 10 sprays, just trust me, bro. The first 1 minute of those 10 sprays is going to be intense. Just walk around your house for a minute. It'll settle, and then it's going to be beautiful to have on you. Trust me, man. Put that fragrance on skin. Five sprays on skin, 5 sprays on clothes. And don't really worry about spraying loam on the back, because when you walk around, the air is going to wash out that fragrance. If you spray on the back, do the shoulders and put it on skin. Everything else goes in the front. Pulse points, wrists, behind the neck, on the neck, up in the chest area where she's going to be. Hit the pulse points again, call it a day. There was a question somebody asked before. Barek, I'm so sorry. My signature scents were Fahrenheit. Okay. What's up, Taylor? Good to see you, buddy. La Nuit de l'Homme EDT versus Parfum. Oh, yeah. I mean, dude, if you go La Nuit de l'Homme instead of L'Homme, Parfum is nice. Both are great. But I would go for Parfum if it's La Nuit de l'Homme. If it's L'Homme, just get the EDP. And to be fair, guys, I know I'm a minority here, but to me, L'Homme and La Nuit de l'Homme annihilate YSLY and YSL myself. And YSL Tuxedo, to be quite honest. Yes, we are. Okay, let me answer Barek's question because he said recommendations and he's open to budget. Okay. This right here, Barek, is incredible. Mancera Vetiver Sensual, about $80 USD. And you get 120 milliliters of juice. Massive bottle. Beautiful. The best amber. The best vetiver. The best citrus. This fragrance is super masculine, but it's also bright, invigorating, happy. It's not so manly that it has no character to it. It has a ton of character. Sillage is incredible on this. Projection and longevity is incredible on this. 8 to 10 hours, easy, but it also has that earthy component. This is a man's fragrance. When you put this on, you could wear this in a suit. You could wear this to work. You can wear this running errands. You can wear this walking down the street. If a woman walks by you, she's going to turn her head and double take you. This is an incredible fragrance. Some would say top 2 vetivers of all time. And what I love about it is it's a citrus fragrance, citrus and amber. But normal citrus and amber fragrances are too playful and too casual. There is so much freaking vetiver sitting under this that it is more vetiver than citrus amber. And it is one of the classiest, not classy old school, new money, rich man about his business, but playful enough with the citrus up top to where this is a rich man's casual to semi-formal fragrance. Absolutely incredible. $80 for 120 ml of juice. I bought this fragrance 1 month ago. Look at the juice. In 1 month, look at how much juice is gone. 1 month. I have over 200 fragrances in my collection. And in 1 month, this is the juice. Incredible fragrance. Now, if you need something cheap, this is all you need. Acqua di Gio Profumo, marine aquatic and incense. Being from India, if you don't like incense, you are not a real Middle Eastern man, in my humble opinion. Fresh, marine, aquatic, earthy, incense. This is sexy. This is classy. Work fragrance, suit and tie fragrance, rich man's casual fragrance. Every season, you can wear this. High heat, cold, you will smell sexy and rich for $20 USD on Amazon. The most underrated cologne of all time. Another one. FOMO Fragheads Asylum. Cloning Elysium. This is $25 USD. Perfect clone of Elysium. What do we have? A citrus medley. Grapefruit, orange, and bergamot. Mostly leaning on the grapefruit. Warm amber. Slight aquatic. Heavy vetiver base. This is Elysium in a bottle. It smells how it looks. It is absolutely stunning everyday wear. Expensive casual. Insanely better than Trillium. This is 3 times what Trillium is. This kills Trillium. This runs over Imperium. Don't even look at those fragrances. This is way closer. This is way longer lasting for $25, maybe $30 USD. This is beautiful. So for me, I would go work. I would go casual. And now I need to get you a date night fragrance. If you need the real thing, I understand. I understand. And if you want the real thing, you can have it. It is by Memo Paris, and it is African leather. If you're fine with getting the clone is 1-to-1, meaning it clones African leather perfectly. It is from Maison Alhambra, and it is Afro leather. Ignore the name Afro leather. This is not Afro, and there is no leather in this fragrance. This is the sexiest date night fragrance you will ever come across. And this is one of the highest voted fragrances that women want to smell on a sexy man. It's very close to Parfums de Marly Carlisle, but I would actually argue that this beats Carlisle by just the smallest margin. This is King of the Jungle. This is a lion of a fragrance. When you look at a lion, dude, what are we talking about? This lineup right here, listen to me, dude. From my channel, people probably purchase about 30 bottles of fragrance a month. off of my recommendations. I don't make money. I'm not an affiliate. I buy everything I own, and I give away free recommendations. On my small channel of 1,500 followers, 30 people buy fragrances I recommend every single month. And I have yet to have somebody upset with a recommendation. These three are insane. Insane. Yeah, man. Carlisle is a great fragrance. Carlisle, in my opinion, is top 3 best fragrances in Parfums de Marly. I would probably say Ojan, or Wajan, Carlisle, and I hate to say it, but Leighton Exclusive are probably the top. But African Leather from Memo Paris just annihilates Carlisle to me. Way more interesting, way more character, less apple pie smelling. It is a warm, spicy, ambery. The fragrance smells like a lion swallowed a fire and then took a piss. Oh, man. That fragrance is incredible. It's true. He did. SoCal did. SoCal did. So, yeah, man. I mean, if you're the type of guy, Burek, where you feel like spending a lot of money makes you feel a type of way about your fragrance collection, you know, get Roja Parfums Elysium, Memo Paris African Leather, perhaps even Ganymede Straight, Mancera Vetiver Sensual, without question. I would also recommend a sexy iris fragrance, something like Narciso Rodriguez Blue Noir Parfum, or Eitan Bob's Egypt, or Nishane's Hachivat. But if you're not getting any of those fragrances, I don't know what to tell you, because those are holy grail niche fragrances. Holy grail niche fragrances. Once you have those, we can talk about other fragrances. Those are like, if you have niche perfumery and you care about the finer things in life, that is where you start. It just is. Okay, guys, love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the Scent Bubble. Appreciate you all so much for tuning in. I love all the help. Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Greenlee, as always, for your help. Love you guys for participating in the chat, and thank you guys so much for interacting. If there were any questions that you felt needed to be asked that I didn't address or answer, please copy paste them in the comment section below, and I would be happy to follow up and answer those questions for you. Thank you so much for your participation, and you guys were wonderful tonight. This is the Scent Bubble, and I am signing off. Love you guys.